Good day, everyone. We're back with another video, and this time we will talk about Module 13 entitled Motion Information and Media. So let's start. So we will tackle characteristics, advantages, and limitations of motion media, production of motion media, formats, sources, basic methods on determining the credibility of motion media, and lastly, the elements and principles of motion design. Okay, so we'll define motion media and motion information. When we say motion media, it is a type of media that appears on a screen as moving text and visuals. Its goal is to disseminate knowledge in a variety of methods. While motion information, it refers to a file or video clip made with motion media. It is commonly used to aid in the image retrieval of a specific thing. Okay, so next, we have here the characteristics of motion media. Number 1, it conveys a message to a vast number of people. Number 2, it sends out the same information to large groups of users simultaneously, perhaps in public and private. Number 3, it contains communications that are often impersonal and transient. Number 4, multisensory or information from several sensory modalities is synthesized. Number 5, it is a formal, authoritative communication medium. And lastly, it is helpful in changing one's attitude and conduct. Okay, so for the next one, the advantages of motion media. Number 1, it records motion in a way that may be watched frequently. Number 2, it demonstrates procedures in-depth and chronological. Next, it supports emotional engagement. Number 4, appreciation for different cultures as a result of watching audiovisual representation of them. Number 5, scenes, histories, occurrences, and phenomena may all be replicated using this technology. Number 6, after viewing, people of various races can talk about it. And lastly, to modify one's personal and social viewpoints. Okay, so the limitations of motion media. Number 1, must not be interrupted. Number 2, the cost of motion media supplies and equipment is high. Okay, next, the messages contain a deep or broad meaning and most children may have misinterpretations. And lastly, occasionally inappropriate for other matters. Now, there are two ways in which the media may produce. These are informal and formal. Okay, so for informal, individuals often create things for their own personal purposes. Like, for example, a requirement in a school project, a favor from someone, or just for entertainment uses, something like that. Okay, so for formal, it is generated by experts who develop, edit, and deliver motion media in accordance with industry standards. The example for this type is movies. Hence, directors strictly follow the certain rules in making formal productions. Okay, so here are the steps in making formal production. Step 1, the creation of storyboard, or it pertains to the shots presented as a series, especially for a commercials, movies, to shows. Step 2, script writing and dialogue recording. Step 3, performing and filming for a movie, animation. Step 4, music background and other details. And step 5, rendering, or the act of presenting a series of frames per second in order to create motion. So, now, we will proceed to the formats of motion media. We have 4 types, and the first one is film. It is a collection of still or moving pictures. Examples are documentary, short films, and animation. The next one is television, a thing for generating and receiving motion pictures or sounds, either black and white or colored. Examples are commercial advertisement on TV, Philippine drama, reality shows, game shows, talk shows, and television news. Okay, the next one, the interactive video or interactivity and linear film are combined with this technology. Examples are customizable online interactive videos, conversational online interactive, and exploratory online interactive. And lastly, others, phone gaming, computer games, and cinema. Okay, so the next one, the sources of motion media. Number one is internet. Through a huge array of private, public, academic, and government networks, an interconnected global network system facilitates international communication and the availability of data resources. Okay, so number two, film and television studios. It is where formal motion pictures are created, like films and shows. The next one is broadcast channels, the frequency through which a broadcast system is delivered. Number four, video channels. It is a platform which it's possible to generate media content, open to all for those who have the same service. And the last type of source is library. This is where books, movies, and musical recordings are occasionally available for individuals to read or lend. Okay, so the next. Okay, the basic methods for determining the credibility of motion media. Number one is validity of the information. People need to determine if the information were peer-reviewed and verified. Okay, so for the other one is source. People need to distinguish a variety of sources where sets of information came from. Okay, so number three is relationship of the author to the event. Author has direct knowledge with the situation. And lastly, the technical methods of detecting tampered or fake video. Under this type, we have here the video smoothness, or when action appears to leap from one point to another, as if some action was missing. This is commonly recognized. Okay, number two is lightning coverage matches. Examining the shadows is one approach to spot lightning matching. The size and direction of the shadows are determined by the source of light. And lastly, the scale and size consistent. The size of the items in relation to one another is called scale, and it alludes to how close they are to being actual. Okay, next one, the elements of motion design. Number one is speed. It is the movement's pace. We have here the slow and fast. When we say slow, it refers to solemnity or sorrow, while fast, it refers to liveliness or strong feelings. Okay, number two, direction. It refers to the motion from different direction. Number three, motion path. A thing or an animated object's ability to move about in space or directions change. Number four, the last type is timing. To make the information or activity more powerful. Under this type, we have here the objective and subjective. Objective refers to seconds, minutes, hours, and days, while subjective timing, it refers to mentally perceived or felt. Okay, so the last one is principles of motion design. Number one is natural rules of physics should be shown. Number two, a recall is affected by timing. Number three, transitions are employed to switch between various scenes. Number four, A movement's substance and intent are improved by sound and color. In addition, creating an animation of one's words and pictures allows for dynamic motion. And lastly, blurring has several uses. The illusion of quick movement is created through this. It is regularly used by some to censor sensitive content. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope you learned something, and again, this is Angelica Mabel Divina from 12 ABMB. Hope to see you all again next time. Thank you!